Welcome to the third best of 5 of this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're in Cactus Valley, spawning to the top left-hand corner in red. It's our Terran player playing for Euronics Gaming and Austria. It's Sylvanas. And to the top right-hand corner in purple, playing Zerg from Risk and Germany, it's Miezekotze. And for all of you just interested in this little friendly banter they are doing here, it's not really friendly banter. Sylvanas just wondering if she can still play this build order or not. And she hasn't forgotten her supply depot. That's a good start. Miezekotze mentioning that it's like riding a bike, you never can unlearn it. So, hatchery first for Miezekotze here will probably be very pleased that she has sent her overlord towards the right direction. Well, her second one, her first one not so much. So, at least, will probably not be pleased to see that her opponent is close position horizontally and not on the opposite side of the map, because that's usually what you prefer as a Zerg player, that your opponent is just as far away from you as humanly possible. So we already have the command center going down for Sylvanas here, no wall off yet. Let's see what Miezekotze has in store for her Terran opponent, the only Terran that managed to get into the playoffs. Grizzly unfortunately was not able to get herself a spot this season. So Miezekotze's typical 6 Zerglings in the beginning. She usually uses them for scouting purposes and also to apply a little bit of pressure. Might actually be able to deal some kind of damage here, since her opponent has no wall up yet. So Miezekotze has already managed to find her opponent here. Oh, just gets the initial Reaper here, and Sylvanas is just already rip. The additional Reaper just wanted to get in, but the Zerglings were already waiting. So actually quite irritated. Okay, revenge for the Reaper. Okay, sends in the other Zergling, sends in the worker, but it doesn't really work out at all. So third base down for Miezekotze already. Sylvanas has already managed to find it, but doesn't SCV rush, but doesn't really know anything else about her opponent so far. So there goes the bunker goes down. So the wall off has now started for Sylvanas. And like I said, I mean, it's a bit odd that Miezekotze is actually not using her Zerglings to some, or making some use of her Zerglings here. I mean, okay, she's waited obviously for speed to finish, and now she finally moves out. But you could have dealt some kind of damage home at Sylvanas' base. I mean, Sylvanas is known to plant down her initial command center on the low ground and to wall off her main base, or to wall off her bases as late as possible, and sometimes even too late if you really go for an all-out push. So, I think she could have dealt some damage here, but obviously decided not to, or just wanted to play it a little bit more conservatively here. So, Evolution Chamber is going down. Seems as if Miezekotze just wants to play the good old macro game. Is probably just comfortable that she might be able to out-macro her opponent here. Ooh! Ooh, what's going on? Ooh! Oh, someone is lagging. Miezekotze, that was Miezekotze just for a little bit there. A little bit odd there. Hopefully Miezekotze won't just drop out completely. Okay, in the meantime we have the Overlord just moving in, but Sylvanas is there denying too much vision. So, seems it was just a small hiccup. Take that! So, looks as if it was just a small hiccup here, so finally she avenged herself for the early Reaper there by taking down that Overlord. Okay, Miezekotze seems to have some spikes. Only referee can unpause the game, so I have to do that now. Okay, Miezekotze seems to lag out at fields. Okay, then we probably have to just redo this. Hopefully we won't have to start from replay again. Oh, okay. Miezekotze keeps having internet problems since yesterday. Ooh, 900 ping. Ouch. So, okay, this of course explains why Miezekotze is not doing all the usual stuff we're seeing her do, because she now has to fight against the ping, so hopefully it won't get any worse. She said we can just start because it will probably not get any better. And then we have another lag here, but only for a little bit. So if this really becomes a big problem later on, we will have to see if we maybe delay this game for a little bit and maybe play it after the Midas versus Miyako series, if that might help a little bit. Maybe her internet problems will fix themselves in the meantime, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, Miezekotze just moving out with a Ling over here, just plants all of her Lings at a good location for tracking and scouting, and there of course already sees the medivacs here that are not even completely full, so I don't really feel that Sylvanas will be able to deal that much damage with the help of these medivacs here, although you never know, ping problems can be pretty problematic here. But Miezekotze is already in position. She doesn't have a lot of banelings though, actually none at all, so only defending this with pure zerglings and queens. It's possible, but she might just lose a little bit more than necessary here. But yeah, okay. Never mind, Sylvanas just immediately decides to retreat, sorry, and remove all of her forces from the front, flying backwards completely. But of course, that's always a big problem for you as a Terran player. You want to apply pressure, you want to deal some kind of damage to the economy of your opponent, maybe even taking out a third base if possible, but at least getting some drones kills and denied mining time. Just getting in and having to get out immediately again without dealing any sort of damage is really problematic for you as a Terran player. Of course, it's more important to not lose these units in vain, but yeah, I mean, not doing anything, you're now under pressure, you're now under the gun. It's your job to deal some damage in order to make up for the investment you've made so early on. I mean, there's a third base in the main, only waiting for being planted down. The Lings are waiting as well, so Miezekotze will see when the third base gets taken. So, okay, Liberator just being sent in. Looks as if it just got a little bit bruised over here. Tried to apply some pressure to the main mineral line, but it didn't really work out. Now moves in with all of the Marines over here. Unfortunately loses all of them to the Ling and Baneling pressure here and can just only escape with the two medivacs over here. Okay, Liberator also wanted to get in, but it can't really do any more damage since there's a lot of queens out already, and the queens would have just taken down the Liberator for free, so Sylvanas doesn't really want to sacrifice it, moves back for a little bit, and is now just focusing on planting down her third base. But still, I mean, Miezekotze's army is growing bigger and bigger. Her economy is also growing stronger and stronger. If we just have a look at the income tab, we can see that it's already up about 600 to 700 minerals per minute, plus the additional 300 gas she earns every minute as well, so that will grow into a big problem just in a few minutes. I mean, Miezekotze will be able to just transition into higher tech whenever she wants. Has already built a lair. The spire is done. She's now getting a macro hatch in order to get more lava, so that she will be able to just get rid of all the money with the help of the lava. She wants to invest into zerglings and mutas here. That's the problem with Ling, Bane, Muta. You don't actually need that much money to build the great army, but you need a lot of lava in order to get it out, so that's why you usually need a macro hatch at some point in the game. So another drop incoming by Sylvanas here will move into the base. It's getting spotted right away. The Spore Crawler is a little bit too far out. Ooh, even, well, moving completely back with the medevac here. So Sylvanas obviously got a little bit shocked that the Spore Crawler could actually hit her medevacs over here. Didn't want to lose any of her precious army units there, so she just immediately moved out. There's no base down here, so nothing to harass. In the meantime, we already have a fourth base down for Miezekotze as well. So the macro game is just working quite well for her. The only thing I'm really a little bit worried about is that she hasn't planted down an infestation pit yet. But as I speak about it, it goes down, and then she will be able to transition into Hive Tech and will probably just see some ultras out in the long run. So let's have a look at the upgrades. It's 2-2 to 1-1. So yeah, what can we say? I mean, Miezekotze is actually ahead in every part of the game. And it also seems that her internet connection got a little bit better because we didn't have any... Ooh! That were some very nice Widowmine shots over here, taking out a good chunk of Miezekotze's army at least. So that was at least a trade, a preferable trade for Sylvanas here. So she also has some widow mines here, but they are not buried yet. Not burrowed. They're not burrowed yet. So not available to fire here. But yeah, with mines, engagements can become quite tricky, and the game can actually just swing around in an instant. If Sylvanas just manages to get some good mine detonations and also splits up her units quite well, then of course this fight could just turn around in a second here. So nice little spreading of the mines here. So Miezekotze just moves in with a few Lings and Banelings, wants to trigger all of these Widow Mines, which she actually managed to do. She still has some Banelings left, running right into these forces. Unfortunately, Sylvanas not splitting at all, was too busy getting these Liberators sieged up so that she couldn't really split at that point in time. And now the Widow Mines were just destroyed by the rest of the army forces. Miezekotze runs in, having overwhelming forces here. These Widow Mines could get some good connection, but they don't, and Miezekotze takes the first map. Second map is Newkirk Precinct, and we have the turn in red, Sylvanas, spawning to the bottom left-hand side, and the purple Zerg, Miezekotze, to the right-hand side. She just managed to take a convincing macro game off of her opponent. Sylvanas tried to apply some good pressure here and there, had some good Widow Mine connections, but then on the big engagement, unfortunately, Miezekotze just managed to trigger all of the important Widow Mines before she engaged with the rest of her army, and Sylvanas being too busy sieging everything up she wanted to have in that fight. She unfortunately couldn't manage to split her army in time. So all of the Lings and Banelings ran in and crushed the force. So there was nothing she could do anymore at that point in time. And it seems as if Sylvanas is just listening to chair. So, hatchery going down for Miezekotze. Oh, these two are just too nice to each other. Yeah, they know each other in private life. They met at the Home Story Cup several times, I think. And back when Sylvanas used to do StarCraft casts, they even did a few tournaments together. So these two are good friends. But they have to fight against each other now. So, first two links for the scout. We'll see nothing all too unusual. Sylvanas just doing her usual routine. Getting the wall of up, getting the command center on the low ground, which is again... I mean, this map has quite a short rush distance with speedlings, and it has a very wide open ramp, so I always think it's really, really risky to take a command center on the low ground. Especially as long as you don't know what your opponent is doing. This time around the Reaper is at least there, can kill off the first initial two Lings, so Miezekotze actually doesn't know yet that her opponent is taking, indeed, a base on the low ground, although she can probably assume what her opponent is doing, just based on educated guesses, again based on what we know about Sylvanas' playstyle. So, Zergling's just in position for the Reaper, who probably just wants to jump in using this Reaper stair over here, so we'll see if Sylvanas actually wants to jump up here. Doesn't, but the trap was set, and Sylvanas didn't walk into it. Checks for the third base instead, has already seen that there's no third down here, but maybe a third up here, but there isn't, so just wants to jump in once more over to the right hand side, sees the amount of drones that are around here, which is also quite important, and also just gets a good scout inside the main base, so now know what's up completely. Also sees the pretty early lair here. And then finally loses the Reaper, but the Reaper has just done its job, can go proud into Valhalla here. So now the wall-off is getting made. we already getting... Yeah, it's a good 2-1-1. So nothing all too uncommon out of Sylvanas. Like I said before, it's actually the build that Grizzly also does quite often. So Overlord moving in, we'll see that Stim is already in the making. Well, at least there's something in the making in the tech labs. And what else would it be but Stim? I mean, I just remember that at some point in Heart of the Swarm, if I remember correctly, there were some timing pushes done with combat shields. And sometimes you can even see some timing, or actually right in the beginning of Wings of Liberty, you could actually even see some timing pushes with concussive shell. But then, of course, we would have needed some marauders here, and nothing around like this. So Stim is the most likely option that you see there. So Spire already getting thrown down pretty early on. So it seems as if Miezekotze wants to go for 2-base Spire harassment, maybe even for a full-out push. Does she have a Baneling Nest up? No, no, she doesn't. So no way for her to break through the wall if need be, although it's an unfinished wall so far. There's the 3rd base. Okay, never mind. So she just wanted to have out the early Mutas, I guess because of the short distances air-wise. So she just wanted to have out anti-air as soon as possible. Something which you can use to track down these pesky Medivacs and take them down before they can get to higher numbers. So, Spire now already done at the 5-minute mark. Let's see if the first few Mutas will also move out. Yes, there's a turret already in position and another turret as well. Yeah, I think there was a good scout there by Sylvanas that actually saw the Spire incoming. Yes, a good scan. Sorry, not scout. A good scan there, so Sylvanas actually knows what's up. That's the reason why she just continues building a few missile turrets here, so that the Mutas won't actually be able to deal that much damage. She also brings some of the Marines into position, so once the Mutas fly in, and if Miezekotze is not careful while moving in, she might even be able to just kill off a good chunk of these Mutas once they arrive. So let's see how everything is going to work out. 3rd base is almost done, and I think Miezekotze will immediately start saturating it. But yeah, I think there's not much damage that Miezekotze can do. Of course, you can always just move around, have a look at where the army and the turrets are not, and then maybe deal some damage there. But then she would have to take down some buildings here and there, and this is not a large flock that can take out buildings easily. So, there are the turrets. She already sees that there's nothing she can do. And like I said, now just moving in, trying to kill off a building. But like I said before, I mean, killing buildings is problematic with a flock of only 5 Mutas here. Or 6? No, it's 6 Mutas, never mind. So yeah, with a flock of only 6 Mutas, there's not that much that you can actually do. Now even losing one of the Mutas. And yeah, excellently scouted by Sylvanas and having prepared accordingly, so not much that Miezekotze could actually do. Still, the Mutas, of course, are not worthless. She can still use them for later engagements, since it's obvious that Sylvanas doesn't want to go into mech, but wants to go into the typical marine mine medevac composition, it seems. And so the Mutas will always be handy, will always become handy once Miezekotze just gets into the mid-game phase. So, Zerglings now moving forwards, wants to check whether 3rd base has already been taken. We'll now see that the army is moving out for the first time with a few medevacs here. I think Sylvanas might just want to take out a potential 3rd base that could be down here. Unfortunately for her, it's over there. So she will have to walk across creep for quite some time. Hopefully she won't advance too far onto creep. Well, now she sees that the 3rd base isn't here, but she will be able to just clean off some creep with the Marines that are here. So that's just the good old spirit. If you're here anyways, you might as well just deal some damage with the Marines, even if it is only creep. And I say only creep because clearing creep is actually an integral part of Terran gameplay. So in the meantime, she's managed to take in the 3rd base of her own. So even though the supplies tell a different story, Sylvanas is actually not that far behind, especially if you have a look at the upgrades. I mean, her 1-1 is already done, 2-2 is already in the making, while Miezekotze is still working on 1-1. But of course, she has a big army here, a considerably bigger army than Sylvanas has. And she also has a lot of Mutalisks out, so Sylvanas has to be careful when and where she wants to engage with medevacs, because now she can't even evacuate as easily as before that, because the Mutalisks could then just also track down the army and kill off everything. So she really has to be careful with the aggression here. But in the meantime has managed to produce a lot of Widow Mines here, so I think a push that actually moves across the map towards the 4th base here could be kind of successful. And that's the only thing she actually needs to destroy now. I mean, a Terran on 3 bases is actually way more powerful than a Zerg on 3 bases. So if she just manages to keep these... I think she should really unload these medevacs though. Has to be careful here. I mean, now Miezekotze actually knows that there are winter mines in play. Just wants to trigger all of them, and she does quite nicely there with the help of these Zerglings. Now even moves in with the Overseers here. Sylvanas has not really unloaded all of her forces here, and the winter mines are gone. But of course, the Marines still deal tremendous amounts of damage here. And like I said, now she can't really get up into these medevacs here. I think she should have really evacuated these medevacs a little bit earlier, but the reinforcements will probably help her deal with the rest of the army. And there's a lot of army going down from Miezekotze there, but yeah, the rest of the army that Sylvanas has unfortunately cannot really fire upwards into the air, so they just have to retreat for now. But I think that was kind of a good trade there for Sylvanas here. Like I said, I mean, she didn't get the 4th base, it will now go up, but for now Miezekotze will first have to remake a lot of her units there, and she actually she has a lot of gas here, not that many minerals, but they will get up once she finally manages to saturate her 4th base over here. And there's the next push already moving in, the good old parade push tactic here, although it didn't really work as a parade since she really had to retreat for some point in time and now comes back. But yeah, the constant pressure is now finally taking its toll off of Miezekotze. And there Miezekotze finally moves in. Sylvanas' splits are very nice here, just splitting up the armies pretty greatly and pretty efficiently here. More army units moving in from behind. Now it's only the Mutas left and only a few forces on the ground, but there's a lot of Marines and Marauders left, some more Banelings coming in, and it seems as if Miezekotze might just barely be able to clean off that push, but only the remaining Marauders are now killed, and we still have some units left. Sylvanas unfortunately left all of her medevacs here, now has to reproduce, but her army upgrades, again, she will hit 3-3 way earlier than her opponent, and Miezekotze dropped down to 107 supply. She's just busy now reproducing her army here. She really has to inject her, yeah, she really needs to hit her injects with her queens now, wants to spread the creep as well, so a lot of things to do for Miezekotze right now, and now Sylvanas takes the supply lead for the first time here. She might even want to wait with her next push until 3-3 finishes. Don't really know if she has an eye on that. Seems as if she just wants to push forwards anyways while she has the momentum. Miezekotze reproducing a lot of Lings and Banelings here. No Mutas though, or not that many. She actually just can't afford it because she needs more forces on the ground, and she knows she needs something to deal with these amounts of Marine forces here. Okay, Widow Mines get buried. Get burrowed, sorry. We only have a small Marine force here. Miezekotze tries to trigger, oh, actually a traitor mine, just shooting most of Sylvanas' army, luring most of the army right in the Widow Mines here, getting good connection there, so a lot of Miezekotze's army actually dies. The spreads are fantastic here, backwards, away from the creep, and now Sylvanas is pushing forward. There's not many forces left for Miezekotze here. Miezekotze producing 24 more Lings and 4 more Banelings, trying to get into, I don't know actually, it was actually just a hatchery building over here, trying to get up a 4th base, and now it's only Mutas against pure Marines, a few more Zerglings coming in, and again, barely, just barely, Miezekotze holds the push. Whew. Sylvanas now on 3-3, but unfortunately her army just got wiped out. Think if she just waited a little bit longer with the push she just did a few seconds ago, she might have actually managed to get a different outcome here. The 5th base is almost up for Miezekotze, but she hasn't even saturated her 4th, but of course will need to transfer a few of her workers later on anyways. Yeah, good income here. We can see that there's no oversaturation anywhere. But Miezekotze only has 63 drones. Anyways, she didn't really have the time to get more. And yeah, the Ultralisk Cavern is incoming. Sylvanas now is on the clock. And in the meantime, trying to get up a 4th base, but Zerglings are here in order to deny that. Ooh, unfortunately, a lot of these mines just getting in without getting burrowed. Ooh, now the splits are not as good as they were before, and most of Sylvanas' forces just get smashed immediately before they can finally deal some damage. Ooh. Oh, damn. That might have been the push that just ruined the game for Sylvanas. Sorry for that. Very sorry to say that, but that looked pretty well for quite some time. But like we said before, I mean, Sylvanas was on the clock. She needed to deal some important damage. She could have dealt it with that push, but unfortunately she forgot to burrow her Widow Mines soon enough, and then the splits also weren't there, so the army got crushed completely. I mean, Sylvanas is still up in supply. She's still kinda even a little bit behind, but the Ultralisks just will change a lot for her. I mean, it's the Ultralisks almost have full armor. The chitinous plating is in the making. Level 3 armor is not in the making for Miezekotze yet, but it probably will be in just a few seconds. And once the Ultralisks hit the field, it will become way more difficult for Sylvanas to deal some more damage. Especially since she hasn't got the infrastructure in order to produce Liberators like crazy. She only has one starport and it's still producing medevacs. I mean, she could actually end the medevac production here. Okay, now trying to split up. If it's not that many Ultralisks, if the Widow Mines actually get good connections, and she might be able to take out the Ultralisk with the rest. No, she GG's out immediately after seeing that the army got crushed, and Miezekotze takes the second game as well. Welcome to Paladino Terminal. Spawning to the top left hand side in red, it's our Terran Sylvanas. And to the bottom right, in purple, playing Zerg, we have Miezekotze, who's leading 2-0. She only needs one more game to close it out. Sylvanas fought hard and bravely on Newkirk, but it was not meant to be. Let's see if she can do the same and a little bit better this time around in order to bring her opponent to the knees. So, ooh, quick spawning pool this time around for Miezekotze. Seems as if this time around she might just want to make use of Sylvanas' habit to take a base on the low ground early on, even on a map where you actually have two entrances into the base. So let's see if that is just what she's thinking. So, but it's going to be an early cheese. And why not? I mean, Miezekotze is leading 2-0. She just sees a possibility to maybe end this game a little bit quicker than usual. Is of course still taking a natural base. And there it goes. The SCV is going down, planting a base on the low ground with like a wide open space and, like I said, two entrances into the main base. You can actually kind of do this if you just seal off this area with a building and can buy some time and maybe even position some units right behind it. Because that's actually the only... no, but actually then you can still move around, right? Yeah, okay, never mind. There's still a possibility to move around, so it doesn't even matter. No way to actually seal this off in time completely. So that's rather risky. That's not greedy, it's almost suicidal. I mean, or it's really putting your faith into God. So it seems as if Miezekotze just wants to go for an early Ravager push. Doesn't even want to deny that base for all too much, but sent these two links across anyways, and will now, of course, yeah, delay this command center for quite some time. Ooh, even no wall off at the main ramp, so these two links will actually even get in, will see everything. And there are no defenses up whatsoever. There's even the barracks in here. Okay, now finally the Reaper is forced to get back. Will eventually kill off these Zerglings here. But yeah, that was already a lot of damage dealt by Miezekotze. Indirect damage though, but a lot of damage nevertheless. So this base will probably go down, but yeah, in the meantime Miezekotze is already preparing for a Roach Ravager push. Just wants to, it seems, saturate the space a little more before finally switching into Roach production. And now also waits for, might even actually wait for the hatchery to go into, actually she needs those, right? Okay, GG? What the hell? What?